Okay, so let's get back to my regularly scheduled programming and let's talk USS New Jersey. Okay, try to get a little better picture of these two bent pieces so you can see how utterly tiny they are. And these will go against that other piece that I have curved around. And I found after a few minutes of being curved around that when I took the tape off, it was just springing back. So I put it on a smaller one, figuring that if I get it tight around it, when it springs back, it'll spring back to where I want it to be to begin with. And you may have to do this trial and error 2 or 3 times to see what you can get to work. And so far, that's kind of where I am. I'm just trying to see what works. Now, what I'm doing here, I don't care how many different detail up kits you get with a lot of photo etch. You're going to have to come up with a way of your own to do some of these things, because every situation, even on this model, is different. I have to take one piece of railing and make a complete circle out of it. I'm hoping I can use this tiny one. I don't know. That may be too big. I haven't really pulled it out. Let me see. I'll find that circle. There it is right there. And yeah, this is way too big. May have to get like a pencil or ballpoint pen or the barrel off of a ballpoint pen to get that to work. So that's the kind of thing you have to deal with. Just trial and error. You have to see what you can make work, and I guess you can go out and keep looking and finding all kinds of tools to do photo etch with, but the truth of the matter is it's hard to make a tool small enough for this. So I'm going to leave this like this, mainly because we don't let Sunny out here anymore, so that's a good thing. And then there's a couple of more bends to make on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue a couple of sides to hold it. Then I'll make the other bends while I'm applying glue to it. And I, of course, will be using toothpicks, very, very tiny ones. I may even have to sand some down. But when I get done with this piece and get the entire antenna array done and get that mounted, that'll be a big achievement. I'll be glad to see that done. So I'm gonna dog it off here, and I'll probably start back on it in the morning because it's getting kind of late. Okay guys, I'm going to continue on with this video with the etch brass for the USS New Jersey. I was not going to put this first bit of video in here because for me it's kind of like watching paint dry. But I've had a lot of questions from people, or at least some interest from people wanting to see how to glue photo etch and what kind of glues to use, etc. And I can guarantee you can talk to a dozen people and you're going to get a different answer with every one of them. I use super glue. I think I gave you my primary guidelines, which I do deviate from. And that basically is with photo etch and metal parts, I use super glue. With wood, I use wood glue. With styrene, I use styrene glue, plastic glue. So I try to stick to that. Well, if I'm using dissimilar materials, for instance, putting the brass photo etch or the steel photo etch or aluminum, whatever it is, onto styrene, I use super glue. That's just, I find it easier that way. But I will go through that. I'll put that video up here for those who are interested, and you can always skip past that, fast forward through it. I'm going to add in an additional video that I haven't made yet for Sparky 107107. He has asked a question about photo etch in regards to his model railroading and buildings and the like, and I think he'll be very pleased with what you can find out there. So I'll put a little something with that. So let's just get on with some of the video that I've already shot. Okay, to my friends in the broader modeling community, railroad modeling, and gamers, all you guys that are out there modeling, creating stuff with your hands. I've had some questions, specifically from Sparky 107107, my Canadian buddy. I like you guys from Canada. Anyway, what I wanted to do for Sparky 107107 was talk a little bit about photo etch. Now, etching is something, I mean, you've heard the old stories, you know, the guys inviting the ladies up to their room to see their etchings. Etching hasn't really changed. There are several processes for etching. Photo etching has been around a long time. I mean, they used to photo etch glass to make photographs back in the 1800s. So now we're talking about really thin sheets of brass like this, and they also have other metallic types. And I'll be honest, I don't know if this is steel, aluminum, or whatever. It doesn't seem to be oxidizing like aluminum, but same stuff. Now what you do is you have a photosensitive material. Well, first of all, you get a picture. You do a design. Today we do them on computers. I used to do them by hand. But you do them on computers and you print them out on a material. And there's many materials, and there are plenty of videos out here on YouTube about it. And you transfer it to this very thin material here and expose it to light. And then you expose it to acid. The acid eats its way through, and after a certain period of time, you take it out, wash it off, and you have this very fine, very detailed, very thin kind of material that you can cut loose and turn into something. Truth is, you can do it at home. The most of the cost involved in buying it and the most of the cost involved in producing it is sitting down for hours and doing the computer graphic for it. Once you do the computer graphic, there's a simple process to transfer it to a photosensitive material on this brass or whatever, and then you soak it in acid. Now, if you just left it sit there and walk away and come back 3 months from now, it's gone. 3 weeks from now, it's gone. It will dissolve the material that you're soaking in the acid. It's an acid. That's what it does. So it's just a matter of timing, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I've done a lot of etching and what have you with acids, and you just keep track of the time and it comes out perfect every time. So it's not difficult. Now if you go buy it, you're really paying for the total amount of time and materials that are involved in someone developing the design and doing what they do. Now, Sparky, go out on the internet, do a search on HO photo etch, not PE, but HO photo etch. Look at the pictures. And you're going to see some of the ones that I'll put at the end of this video that you can purchase. Now, I'll be honest with you, what do you want to spend? You can buy photo etch, really complicated, beautiful, I mean absolutely beautiful, detailed process facilities, fuel loading facilities, train loading facilities, whatever you want. You can get it all in photo etch, but it can cost you $250, $300 for it. Now, I suggest, this is just Solomon talking to you guys. If you're interested, you find one you really think adds a lot to your layout, do one. And you can get some fairly cheap. Just do one. See if you like the results you get. I think you will, but will you want to spend that much money for more? I doubt it. I don't know. I wouldn't. But add to that you have a lot of cheap photo etch. I'm sorry, inexpensive photo etch that's much like what I just showed you, that are door frames, window frames. If you're doing Victorian era, the real fancy frilly stuff, you can get fences that are photo etched, fence rows that are just absolutely gorgeous. You got to cut them out. You got to, mess with them a little, clean them up, but not much, not much. I'll put some photos on at the end of this so you can see what's out there, and then go search. Find something that you're interested in. Buildings, anything you want, they're out there. And there's a lot of them. And they're really worth having for the detail. Now, it's all up to you if they're worth having at all. Because we've all got financial limitations. But there's some beautiful stuff, and I'm sticking a few up here as we go along in this conversation. And if you go out and do a search on Google and you pull those pictures up, you can go to those sites that sell them. So they're all out there, but a lot of good stuff. So photo etch is good. Now, let's get to how I glue photo etch. And the first thing I'm going to do is point out glues. For my photo etch, I use cyanoacrylates. We call them CA glues. Okay? You see this with the bands of blue? That's cool. You see this with the bands of turquoise? You see this one with the bands of purple? They all have Hobbytown at the top. Now let me tell you a little secret. You go out on all of these sites where everybody's using CA glue, and they have different names for the, I can't remember half of them because I don't usually deal with them. This happens to be my local hobby shop. But you can go to Michael's, Hobbytown, anywhere you want to go, you can get the same cyanoacrylate, CA glue. Well, having worked in the chemical industry for a long time, building chemical plants and seeing how our clients worked, well, let's just go back to the 70s. I went to buy a battery, and I was wanting a better battery, and I did a lot of research, and I found out there were only 5 battery companies in the entire United States. And they sold batteries under every name under the sun. Well, just like that, these chemical plants make the CA glues. They put the same labels, but they change who's selling it. They're all the same. Now, if you go get Gorilla Glue, it's CA glue. Now, CA is a chemical formula. They tweak the formula to get the different types of glue. For instance, the one I'm using right now is medium. This sets up in 5 to 15 seconds. That medium, actually it's a gap filling formula. It's a little thicker. Then you've got some that is, that's not the one I want to show you, 2 to 5 seconds. This is flexible thin. It's just slightly, they're just tweaking it. It's like having a moist chocolate chip cookie and a crunchy chocolate chip cookie. And then finally, I have the super thin, which is 1 to 3 seconds. You put this on, it sticks. Walk away from it. So they're all CA glues, cyanoacrylates. Super glue, same thing. Super glue is a cyanoacrylate. Gorilla Glue is cyanoacrylate. if you get the cyanoacrylate, the CA Gorilla Glue, because they have a lot of different kinds of Gorilla Glue. So when I say CA glue, it's can be slightly formulated a little bit different. I don't worry about whether I buy Gorilla Glue or whether I buy, and I consider these as no-name CA glues. Hobbytown has their name put on them, their addresses put on them, and you'll see the same thing with a lot of other stores that you buy them from. Same way here. You can have your favorite, get whichever one you want. I don't care. I buy one from my local brick and mortar store, and these are the ones I get. Now, I also, when I open them, I don't put the caps back on. I get these T-pins. Now these T-pins, you've all seen them. They're just like this. I use this to put back in the neck of the bottle. It fits perfectly. And it's also the applicator for the glue. I take one of these, you may have seen me use them before, it's just one of these yogurt cups. It's got a little lip around it. I will spread a little glue on here, just a tiny bit, from one of these bottles, and I will use the pen to actually apply the glue. The only other thing is this. It's the Instaset. And again, you see it's Hobbytown. Same manufacturer makes the same Instaset for everybody who puts their names on the bottles, if it looks like these bottles. I don't know, Gorilla Glue may have their own plant, but guess what? Not likely. They buy theirs from chemical plants, just like the ones I built all over the country and all over the world. That's just what they do. But this Instaset, now it's for all CA glues, all of them. Doesn't matter who makes them, which tells you something about the chemical makeup. So don't get too excited about whether you have a better CA glue or a worse CA glue. They're all basically the same. Now here's the thing with the accelerator. Look carefully at the label. This particular one is compatible with plastic and foam, which is good to know. If you are like I do, you use CA glue to attach your photo etch to plastic. You can set it instantly with this. So you want to look and make sure that's the case. Now what I do with this is, but you put your super glue on, you hit it with this, it's done. It's set up immediately, regardless of whether it's 1 to 5, 5 to 10, however many seconds it's supposed to set. It sets immediately. But what you need to know is that before you paint, soak this. Soak it in Dawn and water. Let it sit there overnight. Just swish it around in fresh water after that. Make sure you don't have any of this residue on it. Another thing to remember about the Instaset is if you put a little bit of glue on and you hit it with the Instaset and you decide to put a little glue on something else, that Instaset's still there and it's going to set it up immediately, so you better be prepared. Or just wait, wash it off. You guys get the drill. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's basically the way I approach this stuff. And if you look down here at the tabletop, this is the way I set it up. I've got my glues in the order that I may or may not use them, because I may not use any of these. I keep my instant set right there. I have the one I use the most. This is a gap filler, so I will use it on these small pieces because I'm not sure how tight I can hold them. I put my glue on here. I take my pen, I apply my pen to my tiny little brass pieces like this, and that's it. Now I'll go ahead and do these. I want you to look at a good friend of mine's video. He just put his first video out. I think it's his first. At any rate, I'll put the name up. His name is Pete. He's from Holland. He's doing the same model, and he started well after I started this one. And the truth of the matter is, he's much further along in what he's doing. But Pete's doing a great job. I have had a lot of interruptions in my build, closing in my shop, putting up new tables, just all kinds of additional things that I've been doing, building the airbrush spray booth, and you add into that, you know, downtime for just not feeling well. And, you know, I'm a bit further behind, but go look at what he's done, because he's already got a lot of this stuff. He's passed a lot of it. And you can see how he's solved the problem. Now, he's just putting up still pictures in a slideshow. But you can see, I mean, you know, everybody has their way of working. But you can see, this is how I work. And I'm going to put up this video. I want to get it out before it gets too long, so I can get back down here and finish my gluing. And I've already got video of putting things together you haven't seen. It's just, it takes time to edit and do all that, and I've got other things I'm doing right now. And I want to get on to show you what I'm doing with the main armaments of the New Jersey, because I've made progress you haven't seen. So we'll get back to that maybe in the next video. And I just want you all to know I'm glad you stopped by, and I hope you got something out of this video. You have a good day.